right, weekly outlook. Okay, so I did one earlier, but I'll do another one, a much quicker version. I think because the one previously took a little bit of time, so we'll re-record it and put out a shorter form one. But anyway, straight to the point. So ES, right? I mean, last week we discussed the idea of this outside bar and the issues, right? We kind of need to just take it out to sort of negate this on both, right? ES and NQ. Um, right, we failed to do that, broke down, and sort of ended up seeing some of the key levels below. Right, ES that involved taking out, getting out of this balance up here and sort of working into the prior one. NQ same thing, falling out of this balance up here and trading down to your year-to-date point of control, which we got the bounce off of, although it wasn't like right at it. So going off that, right, we got a crazy rally Friday, but doesn't necessarily mean we've gone anywhere. On ES, it's clear here that we fell out of balance, and now during M period, the last 30 minutes of the day, kind of traded back within balance. So, we'll keep that on watch, right? This is your balance low here. You have a spike here from Friday. And then, value sort of starts, at least in this lower distribution, starts picking up 52, let's just call it 60. So 52, 60 to 70 is the first line in the sand, right, for early in the week. If we can hold that, I'm looking to buy dips, right? If we can hold that. If, let's say we don't dip down, this thing just keeps ripping, it becomes your first target, and you kind of just want to look the long off of on acceptance above 53.23. I would say, right? Because this is your value up here within the balance, right? You can say we have that, most of it down here. So, on dips, this is probably where I'm looking to buy. Below 70, you can give it down to the 60. Below 70, I'd be a little reluctant. You have a couple levels, but nothing too significant until, like 51.95, where this lower end of the, I guess, area of balance comes in, right? Where it starts to really taper off down here. So below 52.70, I'd be wary of buying, dips. Or 52.60, I'd be wary of buying dips. That's probably the one place I'm looking to buy on a dip this week, right? The goal of it being acceptance back over 53.23. So this was your prior all-time high, and it sort of lines up with, it's your point of control of this balance up here. 16 sort of where it starts to taper off here, but essentially just shooting for the bulk of this balance up here as the first target. Okay. Let me erase this, and then NQ, similar idea, right? Still haven't really put in a higher high yet, and NQ, all we did was kind of resolve back up to 600. 600 was the line in the sand for a while now. We finally got to test of it. Kind of just went straight through, right? Although you got a reaction off of PC that brought us back over at the open, kind of just gave up. And what I say would happen under 600, right? 360, 300. Kind of got that in one session, then got the bounce off of it, right? Whether it's just end of month flows or an actual bounce off your year-to-date point of control, which I would like to believe is the reason why we bounced so strong. Right, the rally only took us back up to 600. So that's going to keep being your point in the line in the sand for early in the week. Right, if you can stay above it, I'm looking to buy that dip. Otherwise, right, let's say come Monday and we're like kind of teeter-tottering here and we're starting to give it up, I would not be surprised to see this fail again and have us work back down to this point of control, or I guess the upper end of this and maybe even the point of control there. If this is a dip, I'd be willing to buy. Maybe just pay attention to more order flow down here rather than just leave orders down. But I would really be interested on a dip here and to see what it does, because I wouldn't be surprised if this is a low. And if we get a significant pullback back down to that, I would like to think it works its way back up. So we'll keep an eye out for that. But if it doesn't give it to us, I'm looking for the same thing back on pullbacks down at 600, right? And this is sort of that low volume node between arguably this stuff up here, most of it down here, and you could say a little bit down here. All right, so 600 line in the sand sort of sits around this value area low of this balance where volume starts to taper off. Targets can be these high volume nodes that stick out within this balance, right? But over 813s, 815, and you're looking at this. So this is your first big target, right? Aside from these point of controls. It's still tough to say like where we're gonna end up. I'd rather just still take it day by day. Just work off of what the market's really giving us, and we'll get more information as each day passes in terms of where they want to shift value, right? This one really didn't really tell us much aside from the fact that we don't want to be down here. Right? You fell out of it, which is quite bearish, but then you end up closing right back at it. So mixed signals. Although this bounce was really strong, I still don't know whether I want to, say this was all because of the point of control of the year sitting right here, or was it just end of month flows that made us rally for the last 30 minutes and last hour? Yeah. So just take it day by day. We'll just keep using the same levels. So that's about it on ESNQ. Quick rundown of gold. I think gold makes a lower low that eventually gets bought. I know last week I sort of had the same idea as well. But now with the contract rolling over, I'm still gonna continue using this area support, these kind of balance highs, balance lows, right? That's like a line in the sand. So this area can be really important if gold is to sell off this week. I would really be interested in buying any dips down into the 20s and 20s and 10s. Okay, and treasuries. Treasuries I also think have put in a very long-term bottom. Last week we played longs to catch the last two sessions. Gave us about a point on the treasury notes, but I made the mistake of buying the one that expired that same week, and had to end up closing those out. So I'll look to buy dips on the current one if I do get the chance to. All right, played a couple T notes for about a point move, I believe, from what 07.24 up to 08.10, 08.20. So I think these have put in a long-term bottom. So we'll stick to that bias until it tells us otherwise. Another thing on my radar this week is, what was it? What was your software ETF? XG. Here we go. So your software really has not had a good set of earnings recently. Some really poor earnings. I know Crowd's got them coming up. Adobe's got them coming up. Oracle's got them coming up. But, the ones that have reported so far have had some brutal earnings. All right, CRM kind of bouncing, and this one's going to be on my radar for this week. If you can start trading back down to this VWAP, I'd like to take it long off a bounce, but I'd really keep my eye on this only because your software to tech has been down or is now down to a pretty historic low. So I'm gonna keep my eye on it. A couple of them setting up nicely. Adobe a little weak. I'd like to see this trade back over some anchored VWAPs. Back over like 156, 157. Might be worth just putting on, maybe not, the cons are kind of expensive. I'd like to just put on a couple of light longs before earnings. Maybe to catch a run up, but I do like this on daily closes above 456, 457. CRM, like I said, I'll be buying pullbacks to essentially these two, right? These anchored VWAPs. One off the earnings and one off the last pivot low we made. Oracle, I'll probably put the long back on. Right, kind of bouncing off that anchored VWAP again. That we played last time, right? We played this anchored VWAP and this one back up to where was the, yeah, essentially back up to these highs. So I'll look to put on a long come Monday. This itself, I know we're already long Microsoft, and they're heavily weighted in that name as well. And the Microsoft dollar trade went down to as a point of control. I was willing to put in like an average, or I was willing to average down into the cons, down to around this lower end of the shelf here. Didn't quite get it. So I'm in like a fairly light position. Calls for next week and the following. With Friday's close, it actually put some of them in the money already. The 415th in the money. So we're up already, what, 120, 150, and then 200% on some of them. Really good spot to start the week, but I'd be willing to put on some more, maybe some different strikes at this point. Now we'll see what Monday does, but we'll really have to see what Adobe, Oracle do with their earnings, because yeah, that thing's at some pretty key lows, right? Maybe not in terms of IGV itself, but in terms of underperformance, right? At a pretty significant level. So that's gonna be about my outlook for the week. Yeah, a quick rundown on Nvidia. We can do a rundown on Nvidia. Nvidia ended up closing back above the most recent anchored VWAP off of the earnings. Right, I know I put on a long Friday after the close on some equity and some NVDL and cut a nice gain. We got out just basically at the high. I mean, the target for the trade was this, right? The first target. It was just a shelf off the volume profile. Right where that volume or value starts to pick up, really. It's kind of hard to see. Let me turn this off. Right, that was really where it starts to pick up. So we got our trims off on that. I had to cut the rest of it down here as it traded back down to my cost basis. But I ended up closing the day back over it. So I do like it for re-entries Monday, Tuesday. I'm on the camp of, my price target's still 1400 for this thing. So, I'm still on the side of this thing trading back up to all-time highs and some, right? And I think it can do that before the split, the split. Next. Looks like end of Friday is the last session. So, kind of bold to make that claim, but I think it should go see all-time highs. Some new ones pretty darn soon. But, you start getting daily closes below this, and I don't like it. Right? So, pretty simple. We just take it day by day. I don't think we'll have to update too many levels. Just stick to the ones we've been using for now. Don't have to go around changing much. And we'll go from there. So hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and let's have another killer week.